Before you skip this video, I want you to pause for just a moment because maybe, just maybe, this video didn't appear in your life by accident. Maybe God wanted you to hear this message today. I know that sounds strange, but stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you will understand why some delays are actually protections, why some rejections are actually redirections, why the things you are crying about today might be the very things you will thank God for tomorrow. And I will also show you something fascinating. Something that even science is starting to understand. Why trusting God's plan can actually bring more peace, confidence, and happiness into your life. So don't leave because the last few minutes of this video might completely change the way you see your current situation. Hey beautiful souls, welcome to Soul Talk with Karishma. If you are feeling lost, confused, heartbroken, or wondering why life is not going according to your plan, then this message is for you. And maybe it's exactly the message God wanted you to hear today. Let's be honest. Most of us don't struggle because life is hard. We struggle because life is not happening the way we expected, we had planned a timeline, a dream. We thought we would be successful by now. We thought we would be healed by now. We thought we would be in a relationship by now. We thought we would have all the answer by now. But life happened and suddenly everything looks different. And when things don't go according to our plan, we start questioning everything. Why is this happening to me? Why is God making me wait? Why am I being tested? Why is not everything working? So, my dear beautiful souls, maybe the question is not why is this happening to me? Maybe the question is what is this trying to teach me? Okay. Imagine a child sitting in a car. The child wants to take a certain road, but the driver chooses another route. The child becomes upset because the child doesn't understand, but the driver can see the entire map. The child can only see the next few meters. Now think about that. What if that's actually how life works? We see one chapter, God sees the entire story. We see one closed door, God sees every door ahead. We see one disappointment, God sees every blessings coming later. Okay, now here is something interesting. Psychologists have studied something called surrender. Not giving up, not quitting, but surrendering things you cannot control. And they found something fascinating. The people who constantly try to control everything often experience more stress, more anxiety, more frustrations because life is unpredictable. But people who learn to accept uncertainty and trust a larger purpose often experience greater emotional peace. Think about that. Science calls it acceptance. Spirituality calls it faith. Different words, same truth. The moment you stop fighting reality, you start finding peace. Right now, there may be something in your life that is not working. A relationship, a career, a dream, a prayer, something you have been asking God for, something you have been waiting for, and maybe you are starting to lose hope. But let me ask you something. How many things in your past felt like disaster, but later turned out to be blessings? Think about it. That person who left, that opportunity you lost, that failure that broke your heart, at the time that it felt terrible. But today, you can see why it happened. You can see how it helped you grow. So, if God was faithful then, why do you think He has stopped being faithful now? Imagine a farmer planting seeds. The next morning he checks the soil. Nothing. 1 week later, nothing. 2 weeks later, still nothing. Does he dig up the seeds? No. Because he trusts the process. He understands the growth is happening underground, even when he cannot see it. So, my dear beautiful souls, maybe that's exactly what you are right now. Growth is happening, healing is happening, preparation is happening. You just can't see it yet. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that God's delays are God's denials, but they are not. Sometimes God says yes, Sometimes God says, not yet. And sometimes God says, I have something better. But because we are focused on our plan, we miss His plan. Because we are holding so tightly to what we wanted, we cannot receive what meant for us. Maybe this season is not punishment, maybe it's preparation, maybe you are not being rejected, maybe you are being redirected, maybe you are not being forgotten. Maybe you are being protected, and maybe the reason this video found you today is because God wanted to remind you of something. You don't have to understand the entire journey, you only have to trust the next step. You don't need all the answers, you only need faith. Not perfect faith, just enough faith to keep going. Years from now, you may look back at this exact moment, this difficult season, this confusing chapter, and realize it was happening for you. That the thing you thought was breaking you was exactly building you, that the delays was preparing you, that the waiting was strengthening you, and that God was working behind the scenes the entire time. So before you leave this video, I want you to remember one thing. If God has brought you this far, He is not going to abandon you now. If you are breathing, your story isn't over. If you are still here, God is still working. And if this video found you today, take it as a reminder not to give up, not to lose faith, not to let fear decide your future. Trust God's plan. Even when you don't understand it, trust God's timing. Even when it feels slow, trust God's directions, even when the road looks unclear, because one day everything that feels confusing today will finally make sense. If you are choosing faith over fear today, comment below I trust God's plans. And if this message touched your heart, subscribe to Soul Talks with Karishma. Remember, God is already in your tomorrow, so stop worrying about it today. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of your soul, and keep shining. Bye bye.